All right, guys, we are back. World Championships prep, first course here at Tampere Disc Golf Center. This place is in amazing shape. I played this course, actually, funny fact, when it first opened. UC opened this course about, I don't know, a handful of years ago, probably 8 years ago, something like that. And I was here for the ribbon cutting event. And now look at us, we're here for the World Championships. Let's get into it. We got hole one. We got 777 foot par 4, dead straight pretty much the whole way with a slight dogleg left. This hole is, you can throw a forehand or backhand. I'm gonna go with an onyx on the first shot. I definitely don't want to throw a mid-range because I still want to get distance. As you can see, it's pretty far, 777. So it's all about getting some distance off the tee and landing flat and straight. That's the name of the game on this one. Okay, so that one's not gonna work. It's a little bit early left. So I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try a Venom, a little faster disc. I mean, the speed of the disc doesn't matter if you don't hit the fairway on this hole for sure, but this one's gonna be a Venom, try to hit the gap. Pretty much the same shot. Like I just said, if you don't hit the gap, the speed of the disc doesn't matter. But I'm gonna throw one more. This one's gonna hit the gap. I just gotta throw a little bit more turn on it. There we go. Much better. That was perfect. Can't throw it any better than that. That's exactly where I wanna go. First hole, just kind of, dialing it in. I may throw one from that left side rough just in case I happen to throw it over there. Obviously, it's not what I'm looking for, but that third Venom shot is what I'm looking for, and that's the kind of feel I'm going for. And yeah, it's off to a good start. Let's see if we can throw a good shot from there, get a birdie putt. All right, so yeah, this left side's pretty rough for sure. It's, as you guys have seen me talk about before, if you do throw in this left side rough, you're pretty much just chipping out. So threw one here, second one's here, almost out of bounds actually. So that would be tough. But really no reason to practice from there because all that I'm gonna do from the woods back there would just be kind of like a chip out here and then try to get up and down from there. So really not much to practice, no reason to practice from there. Because even if I landed there, which I might, I'm just gonna throw it into this open area and then try to get up and down from here. So this hole is tough because as you can see, once you get up here, you wanna bite off a lot of distance, but once you get up here pretty far, it pinches off. So the farther you go up there, the easier the second shot is, but the more risk you're taking on the drive. So definitely tricky. All right, I'm gonna throw this shot. Looks like I'm a really good field player. I do like rangefinders to know exactly how far I am, but this shot looks like it's about 350 to 370, something in that range. I'm gonna throw onyx. Just throw it straight, and it is perched up on that hill, so I wanna try to get somewhere near that hill. Somewhere near circle's edge is solid on this hole. So a good line, just a little bit low. I'm gonna try one more. I wouldn't be upset with that. It's just an easy par from there, but obviously no birdie. So I'm gonna try one more. So that was Athena, dead straight. That's a really good shot. So that's like probably about 30 feet to the left of the basket. So yeah, I mean, off to a good start, throwing some good shots, getting some good feel. I think that's really the most important part. Getting a feel for the gaps, getting a feel for how the discs are flying on these holes. I mean, it's super important. First run through the course is definitely not gonna be your best, but I think I get about 20 or 30% better each round I play. And I think that if I get 3 rounds in before the tournament, I'll be field dialed. So yeah, it's gonna be a good week. All right, so here's the Athena that came back long left. So that was a really good shot. And as you can see, the miss is definitely to go long. You don't wanna go left, because if you do, you're gonna be going OB. So always good to test out these raised baskets, because you never know if you're gonna have a bunch of raised baskets come tournament time. So putt feels good, Athena's flying good, hit the Venom down the middle on the third shot, so we're looking good. Hole 1, let's get into it. Hole 2. All right, we got hole 2, 407 foot par 3, dogleg left. We got 124 meters, pretty much one shot on this hole. There's not much of a shot shaping hole. I mean, it is, but it's just a one shot hole. You basically throw it high hyzer and then crash left. The basket's basically like 45 degrees that way. Obviously trees the entire way. So the almost open fairway is kind of thrown up and tight and early. Basically get around the corner as tight as you can to the trees and go left. This is definitely the type of hole where you can't really go too far left if you hit the gap. So I'm gonna throw a force high, force 407, but we're going so high that it's gonna feel like probably like a 430, 440 shot because you're adding so much more distance going high. So I'm gonna go high force, try to get up there and just see if I can get through these trees and kind of see where the gap's at. That one's gonna be wide. So I already know that for sure. You can see like, went around the corner, but that's just gonna be a par. No birdie look on that one. So I'm gonna try one more. Got to be a lot tighter to the trees here. There we go. That's much better. That's gonna be a birdie putt. You can kind of hear, I listen for the crash on this hole because that's kind of what you're looking for. So yeah, that second one was good. I think that's kind of the tight line you want. High hyzer with something overstable. I'm going with the force. And let's see where we land up there on the green, see if we have a putt. All right, guys, I want to give a big shout out to Reactor Project. They've been a huge supporter, a huge sponsor of mine. They're sponsoring this video. Be sure to go check them out. They make amazing modern disc golf apparel and they make high quality stuff. They do ship in the States, but also international. So send them a message through their website and you can definitely go ahead and get yourself some of that stuff and they will respond, get you hooked up, international shipping, Europe and beyond. So thank you, Reactor Project, and appreciate the support. All right, I wanted to show you some of the Reactor Project gear. The first thing that I want to show you is the Time to Fly hat. This is an awesome hat. They got their branding here and nice breathable mesh, really nice hat. And then the collared shirt, it's got the chains here on the inside of the collar. It's kind of cool. It's got the disc golf chain, so it's got that little unique disc golf touch to it. Really good quality and really professional. Really like that stuff. So once again, big shout out to Reactor Project. And one of my favorite long sleeve articles of clothing is you got the quarter zip with the orange. That's their signature color for their branding. The orange on the hat, on the quarter zip, and on the polo shirt. So just want to show you guys what that looks like. Thanks again. They got the Time to Fly, the little disc golf saying there. Once again, big supporter of disc golf, big supporter of me, and big supporter of the channel. Thanks again, Reactor. So the first drive, as you can see, is almost pushing this long line actually, which is obviously not what you want. So that's just going to be a par from there. And the second one, a lot tighter, and it's definitely going to be a lot better of a birdie look. This is the cool part. This green is obviously tiered, as you can see. I don't very often see people on top of this second tier, let alone the first tier. I've never seen that. So it's a tricky hole, tough hole, but yeah, definitely gettable. But a lot of times you have to hit a C2 putt, almost C3, because it's hard to really access this pin because of how far it is away. That's why you got to make C2 putts like that, and that, and that. So C2's dialed, that's always good. But yeah, thank you guys for watching me birdie hole 2. That's what it's all about. You gotta hit a C2 putt, like I said, or 3 of them. That always helps your confidence. All right, we got hole 3, 118 meters, 387 feet. I like to go backhand, kind of turn over. We do see this one tree on the farthest right side of this fairway. It's kind of this white tree. And you want to be inside of that. If you're wide of that, you're going to hit trees on the outside. So you want to be kind of tight right on the right side to be able to get up there for a putt. I'm going to try this Cigara. I got this in Ale a couple weeks ago, Confetti Cigara. I'm going to try this, see how this goes. And this is a totally new disc, so I don't know how it's going to fly. So you guys are going to see for the first time. But I do want to see on this left side, I want to see my shot go left side, something flippy, and turn tight to this right side. Okay, so that one's just, it's a little more stable than I thought it was going to be, which is fine, just kind of a test flight. All right, this Onyx is going to be a better shot because I know how this disc flies. So I'm going to throw a forced Annie with this Onyx, and that's going to be better. Much better, still a little bit wide, I would say. Yeah, so that's just, that went left of that white tree that I was talking about. I'm going to try one more. And this one's going to be, I'm going to throw an Athena, this pink Athena that I've been throwing a bunch. And I just need to throw a little bit more Annie, and that should be good. There we go. I like that a lot more. A little bit tight, but I like that line a lot better. You definitely, like where I was heading was basically the line I wanted. Obviously not the result, but this is a tough, tricky, tough par 3. But that final Athena shot, that was the kind of the line and everything that I'm looking for, and just must have clipped something on the edge. But you definitely still want to challenge that right side. It's definitely the play. If you go wide left, you're just gonna hit trees and bounce into a spot where you might get a bogey. Definitely not a birdie. That right side's kind of where you want to try to favor to get yourself a putt. All right, so we're up here to the gap now, and this white tree here, as you can see, if you're going towards it or anything, you're gonna hit a lot of these trees and just kind of not get a putt. You definitely want to be flying a little bit further right to get into this gap and give yourself a long putt. I'm gonna take a couple putts for my Onyx shot, and this is kind of, if you throw a bad shot, this is kind of where they like to filter to. So it's not a bad spot to practice from. And kind of just dial in your longer putts. It's always a good thing. Just kind of get a good feel for it. Yeah, I mean, even if you're not making long putts, it's always good to, yeah, just spin a couple, see how they're flying, see how they're coming out of your hand, and then that way you can make adjustments. It's always easier to make adjustments once you putt. Even if you miss it, that's fine. You're just kind of getting a feel for how it's coming out of your hand, and that's super important, especially on long putts. So that way you can make the adjustments. So that's kind of hole 3, you know, is if you don't throw a good drive, it's just a scramble for par, move on to the next hole. If you don't throw a perfect drive, you're not gonna get a putt. But if you do, and you do get a putt, you gotta take advantage of it, make that birdie. All right, we got hole 4. It is an 860-foot par 4, 262 meters. And this hole is probably one of the harder par 4s to birdie out here. It's up there as far as to par trying to birdie this hole. We do have a crush of a drive. You've got to throw probably like 450 to 500 feet just to get in position to have an angle into the green. We do have a line of trees on this right side fairway, and then you have one middle tree. That between that middle tree and that right side, those right side trees, it's kind of the fairway. You want to hyzer in between those and then hyzer left. I almost like to try to go at that tree, even a little bit over top of it to kind of take it out of play if I can. So I'm gonna throw a nuke on the first shot, just trying to, and I almost wanna go over top of those green trees, evergreen trees or pine trees, wherever they are, and then fade left, almost out of sight left. Once you go forward, then left. So that's kind of my game plan. Okay, looks like we're good. Yeah, so I'm gonna throw a Z nuke and see where this can land me. So that's a little bit turned over. So that's gonna hit those straight trees right ahead, just like, oh, looks like I got through them. So that was a little lucky. But that one was just too low. It was a good line, just too low. I want to throw a little bit higher so that way if I do happen to throw it too straight, I can go over the trees if I'm high enough. That one is just a little bit wide. Got kind of lucky, but that's not much of a shot from there. I'm gonna throw one more. So still dialing it in. There we go, that's much better. That should be good. Yep, that's kind of exactly what I want. Went over top of those trees, took them out of play. And as you can see, I'm kind of just throwing shots. I'm not really focused on the result of the shot. If I throw it into some pile of trees, whatever, I'm not worried about it. Just because I'm figuring out the plays, figuring out what works, the height of the shot, the angle of the shot. And then when I get up there, I can see kind of how my disc landed there and kind of make my game plan from there. That's obviously super important. What's up? So yeah, once again, as you guys know, I'm not super married to the result of my shot, more of where my shot's landing and the percentage of it landing in that spot every time, which is exactly what I want. All right, so my first couple went too far right. Almost not, I can still reach it, but not ideal. I'm pretty much blocked out by this. And my good shot looks like it's actually in the middle of this tree, which is pretty unlucky. Because it's gonna be an awkward run up, but it's still very doable from here. So yeah, this is pretty much ideal. I can still throw a forehand, still get up there for a putt. As long as I'm not dead center in this tree, that would be a catastrophe for sure. But still can work a forehand through this stance and this weird lie. And it's just gonna be kind of a flex shot through this gap and then fade back right. You can kind of just barely see the edge of the wood chips. That's kind of circle's edge left is where those wood chips are. But yeah, I definitely like going over top of these trees to get myself into this landing zone. As opposed to going low, I have a chance of hitting those trees and dropping in them, which is a death spot. All right, looks like we're clear. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw a forehand pretty much at flex shot right at that big bushy green tree and nice and high, so that way I have time to glide forward and then fade back left. That's pretty much exactly what I'm going for there. So that should be probably circle's edge short. I'm gonna try one more just for good measure. Put my disc back there and practice this run up again. That's a little early. So a little early on that second one, but the first one, both of them are putts. For second one's probably circle 2, first one's probably circle 1 edge. So yeah, gotta throw a good shot. If you don't throw a good shot, your chance for birdie's done. So, I mean, you could say that on every course, but this course more than ever, you have to throw good drives to get yourself into position. And the sweet spots out here, some holes like this hole, that sweet spot's 450 to 500 feet. So if you're not throwing it that far, you're cooked. No birdie chance for you. And that's what's gonna separate power and accuracy, not just one or the other. All right, so I went long right with my first force, and it's kind of a blocked out putt. This has got a limb right in my way. So to be like a tricky kind of spin putt like that, but super awkward. Definitely not ideal. Having to throw it into a pile of limbs and hope to get through it. So the first one's long right. I can, if I throw a distance driver, I might risk that. I might want to upgrade to a shorter fairway driver to where I'm landing somewhere back in there. And my other one is short. So this shot is playing a little bit shorter than I expected, because the second one that I thought was short is actually right here, and the first one I thought was parked was long. So making those mental adjustments, mental notes, and that's why we're playing practice rounds. Take the notes, make the adjustments, and be ready for game time. All right, we got hole 5, 221 meters, 771 foot, par 4. This tee pad, just making me coming up here to look at the tee pad, definitely looks like it moved back about 10 meters almost, something like that. So it's a little bit trickier, and I would say it's a lot trickier because it actually makes this gap a little bit further back, so it makes the gap a little bit longer that you're flying through. So you gotta throw a better shot and a longer shot to get to the landing zone. Whereas the tee pad used to be kind of by those other Discmania signs up there. So big difference, makes a big difference. Gotta take that mental note so that way you don't throw the same shot on this tee pad as that one, and go from there. All right, so first shot, I'm gonna throw onyx. I'm gonna throw it pretty much dead straight at this baby tree in the fairway and just try to go left and glide straight right in front of that. That's kind of my, earlyed it. Try, that was an early release, but I'm gonna try another onyx, try to throw it a little bit better this time. ESP, right? That same small tree, and try to, just like that. It's a little bit flippy, but that's probably just gonna be a par. I'm gonna try a forehand. Try to forehand, see if I can get into the sweet spot with a forehand from this tee pad. Nope. All right, so get up there and see the little bit of change that they have on this tee and see how much of a bigger difference it makes when we get up there. All right, so I didn't throw a very good drive on this one. I turned it over, threw a bad forehand, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of how these holes are. If you don't throw a good drive, you literally just chipping up around the corner. Like even a shot like this, it's not a bad shot, just a little bit short, and it's literally just doing something like that. That's my next play. So yeah, I mean, the sweet spot is to throw hyzer a little bit left and to go kind of at that tree, fade into here, and then throw a forehand to the basket, something like that. So that's definitely the play. So that's kind of, I'm gonna change my shot. Instead of trying to go too straight, I'm gonna try to fade a little bit more left into this bubble sweet spot. And that should give me a chance to get up and down. But once again, if you throw a bad drive, you're literally just chipping up to here and then throwing a shot to the basket from here. So there's really no reason to practice scrambling when your scramble is just to play for par from this spot. But yeah, it's always good. You know, that's a tricky tee shot. So anytime you have a tricky tee shot in a hole like that, it's always good to practice the layup and try to get up and down from that spot. So I'm gonna throw a Venom. We got about 400 feet here to the basket. Whoops. Never mind, he's putting still. All right, so here's my layup from my bad drive, and I'm gonna try to get up and down now from here. I know being left side of this basket is way better than right because there's a ton of trees that block you on that right side. So that's that's a little early. That's right to the right side where I didn't want to go, but try one more here. And then try to put this one a little bit wider. There we go. Much better. That one's a lot wider. Should skip up to the green. Yep. Hit the tree right by the basket. Pretty much parked. So yeah, just a little bit of a, line change on the first and second one. And as you guys can see, that's kind of the name of the game out here for me right now, is making those little tweaks, making those little changes. And yeah, just taking those mental notes, super important. So here's the short right side, as you can see. So the short right side is definitely where all the trees are, and you can get lucky. Like my first one's got a chance for a birdie. It's definitely not exactly what I want, but it's not impossible. You can throw a driver and make it. But then my first one this is the one that really was the best one. And there's a lot of trees to hit in front of the basket. If you hit any of those and drop, you're parked. So yeah, this green, really just hit the wood chips. If you throw your shot inside the wood chips, you should be making that putt every time. So that's a big spot to land in, to give you to shoot for from that second or third shot, whether you throw a good drive or layup for par. All right, we got hole 6, 97 meters, 318 feet. This is the tiered green, one of the coolest greens in disc golf. Short hole, but very challenging, especially if you don't throw a good drive. I like to throw a flex forehand down that left side at those trees on the left, fade just off of them, because I know if I miss those trees on the left and fade back, it's gonna hit that flat spot on that green and give me about a 20-foot uphill putt. That's kind of ideal. So let's see if we can do that. Just like that, that's pretty much perfect. That's exactly what I'm going for right there. So that's literally the exact spot I'm trying to land in. I'm not trying to throw any closer than that, because that risks going too far, going hyzer and outright. That's about a 20-footer, and it's exactly where I want to land. Same thing for that one. That should be just like the same spot. It's literally on top of each other. So that's the spot we're going to try to land in, and if we can do that every time, we'll be more than happy. We'll have the 20-foot uphill putt and try to minimize the teeth of this green as much as possible. Because as soon as you start shanking shots and try to make a 50-footer on this hole, that's when you start rolling away, taking a 5, ruining your tournament. That's not what we're going to be doing this week. We're going to be dialed in. We're going to be ready to go, and we're going to be throwing good shots. And that spot on this hole is the highest percentage to land to get yourself that uphill birdie putt. And once again, like I said, mitigate the challenge of this green as much as possible. So here are my 2 drives, and as you can see, this is almost the closest spot you can be without completely rolling away or something like that. And very consistent there. And this left side has a lot more room for error than this right side does. So I really enjoy that flat right side uphill putt, 20-footer. Give me the birdie. All right, we got hole 7, 728-foot par 4, 228 meters. And this is a hyzer shot off the tee to a landing zone to another second shot hyzer with a lake, a pond right in front of it. So this first shot is super important placement shot to get yourself in a position to set up the second shot, which is super tricky and challenging. So I'm gonna throw Nuke OS on the first shot and then a force on the second shot, and see where those both land me. All right, so Nuke OS, I'm kind of just trying to, not hug a little bit this left side, kind of go out there and just kind of throw a spiking hyzer that spikes down into hopefully the middle of the fairway. Something like that is ideal, I think. That should be what I'm looking for. I'm gonna try one more and see where this lands me as well. So that should be pretty much the same shot. So I like that high hyzer that comes in and spikes down in the fairway. We'll see where that puts us once we get up there. Once again, this is a blind hole, so it really comes down to throwing those shots, getting a feel for where you're landing in that fairway, and then going from there. Thank you, guys. All right, so we're getting up here to the fairway, and as it should be, the World Championships make these fairways real tight. I think that's how it should be. Got to challenge the best players in the best tournament in the world. So let's get up here and see if we're safe. We might be safe. I'm not 100% sure. Depends on the ground reaction when we get up here. Let's see. So my first one looks like it's safe, and my second one, I'm not sure about that. It might have skipped out. But so we did push the line with this first one, as you can see. So that makes it a little bit awkward. I'm gonna my second one, I'm feeling like it's out of bounds just because of, yeah, this grass is pretty wet, so that's another thing to keep in mind. So my other one did skip OB, which is, you know, something to keep in mind. Once again, like I said, the wet grass, the tighter lines definitely make a big difference, and so it's always good to keep that in mind and know that whenever we're throwing these shots here. Super important. All right, so this second shot for my my Nuke OS is right here. This is what I'm looking at. I have these this left side trees that stick out, and we have a lake that also sticks out on this right side. So you want to go tight left, but you can't because these trees push you wide. So you almost, and a good way to counter that is throwing it higher, give it that chance to glide around and go left side of the lake. Because if I just throw it straight and hyzer a little bit, I'm going to be in the lake. I definitely want to err on the side of being too far left on this hole. So that's what I'm going to think about. Something like that should be good. We'll see where it lands up there. Should be, yeah, I'm probably a little bit long, but that should be all right. I'm going to try one more shot here and see where this one can land me. Once again, another left. I'm favoring that left-hand side, as you can see. That's kind of exactly what I'm trying to do. We'll see. That one's probably also out of bounds, which is, this is just a tricky shot. I mean, both of those are probably OB, but I would take it. It's not like, I'm just trying to avoid this pond. That's really the most important thing. If you throw it in the pond, it's an automatic bogey. No chance for par save. And yeah, this is just, the way these trees stick out and the pond is right there, it makes it such a tricky shot. But yeah, I'm gonna get up there and see where my shots are. So yeah, looks like I misgauged the distance a little bit. That first one I threw a force and it was only like probably a 250 or 300 foot shot. So I'm sure I went way too far in that first shot with the force. And the second shot was the Raptor, and that's probably just gonna be OB left right here, which is okay. I still have a par putt, not the end of the world. So I'm okay with that. So let's see where this green Raptor's at. So that way we know. Okay, yeah, so I see it. Luckily I got my handy dandy retriever. That always helps in situations like this. All right, we got both my shots, and both of them went long OB, which is, once again, it's kind of fine on this hole. I'm fine with that. It's a tricky shot. I'd much rather be OB left with a 25 footer for par as opposed to back there OB going in the pond, having like a 80 footer for par, way less chance. So not so bad playing the OB that's close to the green. If you have to pick a spot, that's where I would rather go OB. Not that I want to go OB, but that's just kind of the part of the game plan on a tight, tricky hole like this. All right, we got the hole 8, 387 foot uphill tunnel shot, 118 meters. This is a dead straight tunnel. Hit the tunnel or die. That's the name of the game on this hole. I'm gonna throw an Onyx because it plays more like 400, 410 because of the uphill. It is gonna make your disc want to be more stable. So if you want to hold it straight, you gotta throw a little bit flippier than you normally would because you're going more nose up than you think. So Onyx right here for me. Oh my gosh. Have the early releases right now for some reason. But I'm gonna throw another Onyx here. This one's gonna be good. Oh my gosh. A little bit early, but it should be up there for a putt. So try one more. Try to turn it a little bit more. Everything kind of just likes to fade left on this hole just because you're going uphill. So everything wants to kind of gravitate to that left side. That's better. Made the adjustment, threw a little bit flippier, and threw a little more flex just so that way I kind of turned it left to right away from those trees on that left. Once again, like I said, you're going a lot more nose up uphill than you think, so you got to throw a little bit flippier to kind of counter that. Crazy story. I came here to this course probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was playing this just casually. We weren't playing it for the tournament. I just knew it was a great course and wanted to play it. We step up to this hole. I'm like, all right, dude. I hand my phone to my buddy. I'm like, hey, dude, like film this. I'm gonna ace this hole. And my buddy he takes a picture instead of videoing. He takes a picture and doesn't get the content, and I ace the hole. And I'm like, I always tease him to this day. I'm like, dude, it's the sickest ace, and you got a picture of it, not a video. Thanks, dude. And so it was hilarious, the fact that he did that. It's a funny memory, even though he didn't get the actual ace video like I wanted. All right, so here's my my Athena that I threw really well. This one's kind of like this is definitely the one that I would probably be throwing on this hole. It's a good hole, good disc for this hole. It's going to be still fast enough to get up there. It's a 7-speed, so it's fast enough to get up that hill, but it's not going to want to go too far long, which is easy to do on this hole. All right, we got hole 9, 433 feet and 132 meters. This is like a horseshoe to the right. This one's a tough pin to access. You kind of want to throw just left of this corner tree with something kind of glidey that glides around the corner. I'm going to go with a buzz, maybe go also try a fairway out. But yeah, the biggest thing about this hole is just throwing it high and giving it that time to glide back to the right-hand side. I think about 30, 40 footer on this hole is a good spot. It's hard to really get much closer without risking getting a crazy bad kick. All right, so this is kind of one of those holes where the fairway forces you to go wide, but the ideal shot wants to go tight. So it's such a tricky angle. There's that one corner tree that forces you wide, and a lot of times people hit this bushy tree on the left because of that tree sticking out so far. So and then also you have this white tree. It's not really in the way, but you want to be obviously well inside that. So it's just a lot of variables that make this hole kind of tough. I like that a lot, actually. That's actually really good. That line and everything was great. I'm gonna try to replicate that one more time here. That's too wide. So that's just gonna hit those bushy tree. Or maybe not. Okay, so that one was really good too. So both those were solid shots. We're gonna see where they land up there. Probably still, I threw it pretty much exactly how I wanted to, and I'm still probably gonna be 40, 50 feet away. Kind of the name of the game out here is a lot of hard holes to birdie and a lot of hard holes to park. So, you know, there's of course those sprinkled in holes where you should be birdieing, but there's those holes like this where you're almost have to hit a 50 footer to get a birdie. Otherwise, you're just left at 60, 70 feet. Just because, like I said, the way the trees are strategically placed and all that just makes it hard to really park holes out here. It's tough sometimes, but it's still doable at the same time. It's not that it's not possible. It's very possible. All right, like I just said, both of my shots, you can see I threw them exactly how I wanted to. Still left at, this one's like 70 feet, the other one's like 45, 50. So you can see it can be challenging to really get those inside the circle birdie looks. But that don't mean we can't get birdies from way out here. Too high. Two for three from circle 3. Not bad. But yeah, so I mean, then this other buzz shot is up here in, you know, decent birdie territory. That's also always nice to get those birdies from the, you know, mid circle 1 or mid circle 2 area. But yeah, this is an awesome hole. Really challenging. If you get the birdie, you're gaining strokes. If you get a bad kick, you're bogeying and you're losing strokes. That's for sure. Thank you guys for watching the front 9. Let's head over, check out the back 9. All right, we got hole 10, 88 meters, 289 feet. This is probably my least favorite hole in the entire course, just because there's kind of scattered random trees everywhere. And there is a fairway for sure, but it's just kind of like it's very random, we'll put it that way. Even if you hit the gap, you still have a chance of hitting a tree. But I'm gonna try a zone here. Try to throw a zone, pretty much dead straight with a little flex, and try to get up there for a look. Tree, might get lucky. So I never hit anything. I like the backhand play. I'm gonna try one more backhand on this. Try to hit, center the gap up a little bit better on this next one. There we go. That was much better. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. That was pure. I'm gonna try one more as well. Let's try to throw that same shot here. That's kind of the shot. Throw it up the middle, little baby flex. That first one, or that second one's like completely parked. I'm gonna try to do that again. Yep, just like that. That's probably 20 feet away. So I'm gonna stick with that. That's the shot that I wanna dial in, so I'm not gonna even throw anything else. I think that that's the purest angle, purest gap to get to the green. And so there's no reason to really throw anything else. The forehand just brings in so many other trees into play that I don't want to. So yeah, on a tight hole, you always got to pick the biggest gap that gives you the best chance to get through the trees, just to get up there for a putt. Even if you hit a tree, I want to be hitting a tree that I still have a putt. You know, for the most part, I should only be hitting this middle tree, which is still a C2 putt with a chance for birdie. And that's the kind of stuff that I think about whenever I'm trying to pick a shot to throw. All right, so my first one didn't hit anything. I just pushed it a little bit wide, and I have kind of a tree Annie putt. I'm gonna try this hyzer putt actually. I've just got this awkward kind of hyzer putt around this tree, which is, you know, definitely makeable. That one didn't go in, but it was very, I gotta kind of putt around that tree, which made that one a little awkward. That go in? Oh, it did, all right. And then my second two that I pured are up here at about, 10 feet parked like that. So that's kind of the shot that I want to go with, is that pure up the middle zone shot, little baby flex. It's exactly what the zone's made for, is to birdie this hole, and we're ready. All right, we got hole 11, 499 foot, par 3, 152 meters, trees everywhere. And this is one of those holes where I'm playing for par. This is one of those holes, I think, on a course where it's kind of a sucker hole, the way the trees are placed, and there's just so much risk. It's not really worth the reward. I like to just throw a flex forehand, hyzer off to the right, and then kind of just lay up from 80 feet. I think that's the best, easiest way to get a par without having too much risk. I'm not saying you can't birdie it. I can birdie it if I wanted to. I just don't want to take on the risk and have a chance to 4 it, 5 it, or whatever. I want to just throw my flex forehand down the gap, land straight, and go from there. Just like that, totally fine. Hit a tree, but other than that, even if it doesn't hit a tree, that's an easy par from there. So that's all I'm trying to do on this hole. Nothing crazy, and totally happy and content with that. Just for that simple reason of, I've seen this hole play out so many times, and it's just such a tricky hole to birdie. So I don't really want to risk it. Once again, that's kind of the play that I'm going for. Flex out forehand, out to the right, and that's exactly where I'm trying to land. And this hole is just the type of hole on the course where it's so challenging. It's much easier to bogey it than it is to birdie it. No reason to even risk it. I'm totally fine taking my par. If someone wants to birdie it, go ahead. you earn the birdie. But I know my course management skills, and they are what make me one of the best players. You can't sometimes play against par. You're playing against the course, and you could play against what is possible. And I want to play the percentages, and percentages for me say play for par on this hole. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so we're going over here to the right side, which is where my forehands are landing, which is totally fine. If I hit any of these trees, I don't really care. I'm just playing for par anyway, so it really doesn't matter where I land. So there's no worries there. Let's see where okay, so my forehand landed here. So now from here, I literally it's a stress-free par. I know, I still have to execute the shot, but I know that If I throw it to there, well, that would be catastrophic, hit the one tree in the way. I'm gonna try this route. But yeah, just kind of throw a pitch up like that. That's just a tap in par from here. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do on this hole. Mitigate the hole, take out the risk, and then my other one's right here. So same exact shot from this shot. So 2 venoms, should be 2 pars, and that's kind of the high percentage play here, hole 11, just because of all the risk that I'm trying to mitigate. All right, see if I can hit this par save, circle's edge par save. Oh, pushed it. But yeah, I mean, that was just a random roll. But more times than not, I'm just gonna be pitching up to here. Once again, not really too worried about that putt because I know that I'm gonna par this hole every time. If I'm playing for par in a par 3, even on this hole, it plays more like a par 4 than it does a par 3, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I don't mind playing for par. All right, we got hole 12. It's a par 5. It's 804 feet, 245 meters. And I could see myself throwing 3 zones and getting a birdie. It's that kind of hole. The first zone is gonna be just dead straight with a little bit of fade. You see a little anthill. So if you can be between the anthill and that right side fairway, that's kind of the landing zone. I'm gonna throw my first zone, just a little bit straight. Just hopefully pin high, a little past that anthill. So that one's a little bit left. Should be all right. I mean, I should be able to still get in a birdie position from there. I'm gonna throw one more here. That one should be better. Yep. That's a perfect spot there. I'm gonna throw one more just to fully dial in. Another zone, kind of a flex shot zone, just dead straight. There we go, perfect. That one's ideal as well. So dead straight, a little bit of fade, perfect spot. Should be a pretty easy 4 from there. Chip around the corner. Once again, just making sure that you hit your line on this hole is the most important. I feel most comfortable hitting my line with the zone. It's a little bit of baby flex. It's my preferred shot. So why not lean into what you're good at? That's exactly what I'm doing here. All right, so we're in the sweet spot where my zones seem to land, which is right here. This is a great spot to land. And now it's gonna be a distance control shot. I know because I played this hole before, I wanna be past this white tree, kind of 45 degrees left, but I don't wanna go too straight. If I go pin high with that basket, it's actually gonna be a completely terrible spot, no chance for birdie. So I wanna be short left of that basket, about circle's edge left of that basket, 45 degrees is my landing zone. That's perfect. So that's exactly where I want to land. I was a little bit tighter than I wanted, but I got around that last tree. So that's might be a little too straight. We'll see. Yep, so that's not bad, but we're gonna go up there and see the angle if I have a cutoff angle from there, and then we'll make the adjustment. But yeah, totally liking those shots around the corner, setting me up for birdie. All right, so we're walking up to my shot here, and it's exactly like I thought. I'm pretty much into these trees and screwed. No reason to throw a shot from there. It's an automatic layup. And from here, this is my good shot, which is awesome. I'm gonna practice from here, throw a couple shots from here onto the green, and kind of dial that in. I'm gonna throw a zone. I'm really just trying to, on this green, I'm not trying to get on the top tier because that's easy to go long and go past the basket. I'm trying to skip up, hit that wood structure in front of the basket. That's where I'm trying to land, about 15, 20 feet short. If I can do that, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Just like that, that's perfect. Should be about 20 feet. Doink. Okay, that was just unlucky. But that's, you know, I don't care about the result. I threw that shot exactly where I wanted to. Totally happy and fine with that. See, like that one, I pulled it to the right. It's closer to the basket, but it was not a good shot. So that's kind of like what I talk about is it was a good result, bad shot. First one was a good shot, bad result. That one's good. Yep, perfect shot. Hit the boards, stopped right there at 20 feet. So that's the play from that spot. Yeah, you know, that's a tap, basically a tap in birdie. And as you can see, I can throw four putters on this hole and get a birdie. That's what I'm looking for. Highest percentage I can get. If it's all putters, that's great. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So yeah, I walk up to this green. My first zone rolled a little bit, but still no problem at all. It's only, you know, those logs are actually closer than I thought. It's like 10 feet from there. I thought it was like a 20-footer, but it's actually like, if I throw it there, it's pretty much just a tap in. Here's a little tester, but it's nothing crazy. Yeah, this is not a bad spot to practice from, just in case you do land here. So this is a cool green up on top of that rock. It's, once again, it's definitely the type of green that you don't want to try to get too cute and try to land on top of the green. Because, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're not landing on top, even if you hit on top. It's such a fast green that you're just gonna skip past the basket and have a death putt coming back. I'd rather have the uphill putt for birdie as opposed to 30 feet past that if you miss and skip off the basket, it could be a bogey, double bogey potentially. So yeah, gotta be smart on these kind of greens. All right, we got hole 13, 935-foot par 5. We got 285 meters. Once again, I'm going zone off the tee. So a lot of these par 5s aren't bomb and gouge par 5s. They're, you know, placement shot, attack the green, give yourself a birdie putt. You know, there's so much risk with the pond, Mando, all those different things that it's not worth the risk for me. So I'm going zone off the tee, forced flex into a sweet spot. Whoops, that was a good shot. Just pulled it a little bit to the right. I'm gonna try one more. That's better. That's pretty much exactly where I want to land. Try one more. I'm gonna just so I can kind of get a feel for that. That first one was not a good feel shot. That second one was great. So try that again. There we go. Perfect. Yep, that's all I'm looking for off the tee. Nothing crazy. Even that second one looked like it was short right. Totally fine with that. I'm gonna throw a forehand around the corner on that one and then attack the green from there. Be totally happy and content with, you know, like I said, I can still get an inside the circle birdie putt from that first one. So totally fine with that. All right, so we're up here to the first shot. And I do think that I could probably end a little bit more left. So that is something to keep in mind here, which is, but I'm gonna throw from this first one. It's not the worst shot ever. Totally, like I said, still can get birdie from here. Let's try to prove that true. Yep, that's ideal. Perfect spot from there. Probably got about 350, 400 feet to the green from that spot. And then we're gonna go up here to my other drive, which is another good shot. And this is also another great shot as well. And the reason why we don't go for it, or you won't see a lot of people go for it at least, is because you see that Mando up there. So throwing over, it's easy to clear this pond, but it's also easy to go too far over the pond because you want to make sure to clear the pond, then you miss the Mando. This shot's actually super awkward because you have a middle tree here, and it's definitely an awkward shot. So if I was here, I'd probably just have to like chip around the corner or something like that, and then try to get up and down from a far away shot. The more left you go, the more it opens up the angle, but also the more you bring in a lot of other obstacles. So I always like to get myself safe off the tee, give myself a chance for birdie, as opposed to on a par 5 going for the super aggressive shot, messing it up, and then you have no chance and you're dead for getting a birdie look. So that's kind of my philosophy. All right, so here's my shot. Not the worst shot ever. I can throw a turnover shot. Basket's 45 this way. I'm gonna throw it just inside this white tree and glide it around the corner. And that should give me a good chance. I always like to clear out my lie when I'm in the wood chips because they get slippery. And then that way I can get some nice dirt under me and not slip on the wood chip. So let's try this shot here. Good shot, just a little bit low. Perfect line. I mean, that's an easy par. I'm gonna try one more. Just a little bit low, perfect line. Really happy with that shot overall, really. I'm gonna try one more, just throw the same exact shot, just a little higher. There we go. Okay. Well, another bad result, but that was exactly what I was going for. High turnover with the buzz around the corner. Crashed into something, not too worried about that. Really good shot. And yeah, even if I hit something, I'm still gonna be able to get a par. Now we're gonna go over here to this right side. And this is gonna be a shot for myself that is gonna be a little bit tricky, but I definitely think I can still go ahead and get myself a look for birdie. Let's do it. Yeah, it should be up there. I mean, that one's probably about 50 feet. So I think, yeah, this green's pretty protected. You want to ask, the easier shot is definitely this left side. That's the easier chance to get up and down for the birdie. But all mine are up there. No chance for bogey. Still have long birdie putts, even from the shots that are not the greatest, which is always the goal. If you don't throw a perfect shot, you still want to walk away with par, especially out here with a lot of these holes being challenging and tricky to birdie. All right, so here's my couple shots are just, left at circle 2, which is pretty annoying. That's not outside circle 2, isn't the birdie look that you're looking for. And then I do have, I believe, one somewhere up here. It's gonna give me circle's edge birdie look, that forehand shot. Let's see where that one's at. Oh yeah, right here. So yeah, that one's ideal. Wide right, which this green's so protected back to this right side that it's easy to go wide left, like where exactly this venom is. So all right, so got the birdie with the forehand, but as you can see, both the back-to-back par 5s. I'm throwing mostly zones to get myself in position to get my birdie look. I'm not throwing drivers, maybe on the forehand on that third shot, but most of the time I'm throwing putter, 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 driver, birdie putt. All right, we got hole 14, 564 foot par 4, shorter par 4 compared to some of them out here, 172 meters. Once again, going zone off the tee, and really tight gap. So you want to throw just kind of a gentle hyzer, skip, fade, and skip left. I'm going to try to execute the shot. You really just want to miss this left side tree by like a couple feet to the right with a little bit of pushing hyzer on it, which is a perfect shot for my gray zone here. Oh, too tight. That's just going to be probably a layup for a par or bogey from there. Try one more, try to hit the gap better. Oh, same shot. So try here, let's see. I'm going to try. That's kind of the miss on this hole. A lot of people do that, as I just did right there, because you're wanting to go around the corner, so you want to go around, hit the gap, then go left. But if you just go left right out of your hand, then that happens. So I'm going to go a little bit wider on the hopefully the release point. There we go. That's perfect right there. Yep, got to skip left, should be in the sweet spot. And it's, as you see, it's not that far, but that's really all you're looking for. Yeah, once again, not, like I said, it's only 560 foot par 4. So you throw it 250, 300 feet, and it's very reachable from there. So once again, you just don't want to do what I did the first couple times, but unfortunately it's a tough shot to get that perfect amount of push, but then still stability still at the end. And from here, you're cooked. It's pretty much almost an auto bogey because you can't even get into the sweet spot where I threw my drive because there's so many trees. So basically, if you throw that drive early left like that, it's a 2-stroke penalty, not just a 1-stroke penalty, probably 2 strokes. So yeah, makes it very tricky. All right, so here's my good drive. It's on this left side. Technically, it'd be off the fairway, but I really don't care about that. This is on the fairway for me. I don't really care what U-disc says. I can just straddle out, throw a forehand flex to this left-hand side. I'm basically just, right now, I'm trying to hit that wood spot. If I can hit that wood spot, that's a good shot from here. Just like that. That's perfect. It's the exact shot I wanted. I'm gonna try one more. See if I can do the same exact thing. Just like that, exact same thing. Perfect. So yeah, that's kind of the shot from there that I'm trying to throw. Obviously I want to be a little bit further right in this area to be able to throw kind of a flex shot. But I do like throwing that forehand over towards that wooden structure, because even if you hit it, you still have about a 30, 35 footer. In theory, it's supposed to be there so that way we don't go that way. But yeah, that ain't gonna stop me. It's still very makeable from that wooden structure, and I totally don't mind it. So might as well do it. All right, so we got a friendly kick just left side of this wood. I think that's kind of the shot I'm going for, is to land in these bushes over here so that we don't have to contend with this wooden structure. But even if you do, it's still very makeable from here, as you can see. Definitely not the end of the world. It's still a very makeable putt from this kind of wooden area right here. So yeah, definitely want to keep in mind what side of it you want to be on. I want to be this left side. It's a more open side. If you go right of it, that tree's in the way. But yeah, I mean, the ideal shot is to go right side of these trees, but it's hard to get in a spot to where you're actually throwing that correct side of the fairway because the fairway's so tight. So once again, I like to practice the scramble shot. If I can land in that area for the tournament, of course, that's what I'm gonna go to, try to, but it doesn't always work out like that. Always gotta be ready to scramble. All right, we got hole 15, 719 foot par 4, dogleg right, and then comes back left. Really cool shot shape, 219 meters. I'm gonna go with the beat up venom on the first one, see where that puts me. Basically just throw a shot turned over, and then basically holding a turn the entire way. I wanna land like this direction, but I gotta throw it out left and let it turn. So that's kind of what I'm going for. See if that might be too far left. Okay, I didn't hit anything, but that's gonna be probably too far left. I'm gonna try one more, try to turn it a little bit more than that first one. Same shot, just not turning it quite enough. Yeah, so that one's just gonna be a par. Nothing crazy from there. Not the end of the world as well. I'm gonna try one more. This one's gonna be a Sagara, see where this one can put me. See if this one can kind of hold a little bit more turn and hold that right side, kind of hug that right side. There we go. Maybe that's kind of the play. That was awesome. I like that shot a lot. Once again, hit a blind random tree, which I don't really care about that, as you guys know. But the shot shape was perfect, exactly like I wanted. So the Sagara might be what I'm looking for. They held the shot shape, held the angle, the line, everything I wanted. So that might be the play for me, just to kind of hold that right side. I want to be on that right side. It's kind of the ideal spot. Yeah, I might just go to where that Sagara should have landed and throw a couple shots from there. But as you guys can see, this right side's really where you're trying to get to. So I need to throw it a little bit tighter on this drive to try to land over there instead of landing straight. So we'll get up there and look at the fairway and see what we're working with. All right, so here's my first shot. Definitely not the worst shot ever, but it's kind of just like throwing a high spike anhyzer through these trees to get down there for a look. So let's see if we can't do that. Okay, that was a great shot. Once again, hit a tree that I couldn't see from around the corner because I was totally blind on that shot, but hit the line and hit everything exactly like I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, hit the middle tree, but I mean, still that was gliding right to the basket, and I'm fine with the result that happened. But I'm gonna try throwing one more from this area, because this is kind of where I'd like to land, which it can be tricky to land here. But I'm gonna try to throw a couple, just because this is the ideal spot, and if I do land in this area, I want to be able to know what it feels like to land up and down. That's parked. Oh, almost in. I would say that's pretty good. Hit the basket from 420 out. Let's try another one. Okay, That hit the wood right in front of the basket, which is also another great shot. So both those are solid. It definitely makes this hole a lot easier if you're in that sweet spot and have that open area to work with. So yeah, I mean, if you're off the fairway like I was in that first one, you're throwing around a corner where you're throwing into trees that you can't see. So that's what I was talking about when I hit a tree that was blind around the corner. Can't be mad about that. I threw it exactly where I wanted to. And so yeah, that's kind of the psychology behind that, and how I break down the hole like this. But as you can see, a lot of these holes you want to get birdie looks on, but there's a lot of variables fighting against you. Tough angles, OB, ponds, and once you start, if your upshots or your drives, either one of them, if they're off, you're taking birdie out of the equation right off the bat. So makes it tough. Definitely doable, but definitely different scoring than the European Disc Golf Festival. Here, you know, I think last year I was leading the tournament pretty much the whole time, shooting like 6-7 under out here. So that's what I'm going for. I think this year might be even a little harder. So if I shoot those same scores with the new layout, might be trying to just dial in some circle 3 putts, you know. Whoops, that was robbery. Speaking of bad results, there we go. Continue with the bad results. But we're gonna get those all out of our system. Drain the putt and flop out. And then the basket hit, that was always fun. Hit the basket with that second shot Venom here. Venom's been my go-to disc lately. It's been awesome. But yeah, this is hole 15. This hole is awesome. Cool green, tough tee shot, tough upshot. Every hole out here has so much character, so many awesome variables. Really enjoy this place. It's gonna be a fun World Championships. All right, we got another par 5. That's like 3 par 5s in the last 4 holes. But we got 932 feet, 284 meters, dead straight on the drive, a little bit of fade left. That's what we're looking for. And then the second and third shot are pretty much straight shots onto a green by the water. So I'm gonna throw my straight Venom. Just trying to throw, you know, 450, just a stock 450 dead straight. Nothing crazy, just a fairway finder shot. Just like that. It's exactly what I'm going for. Nothing more, nothing less. That's literally perfect. Couldn't drop it in a better spot. Let's try one more. Same exact shot there, and same result. So both those shots exactly where I want to land them. Totally happy with that, and let's get up there and throw some more. But yeah, as I said earlier, this course, I went to the ribbon cutting event of this course, you know, like I said, I think it was like 8-9 years ago, something like that. So to see the progress of it from 8 years ago till now is just absolutely awesome. So cool to see Wysocki. He's been a huge promoter of our game, doing so much for our sport through my career and for a lot of people's careers, and especially here in Finland and all over the world internationally. So it's awesome to see his hard work paying off at this week's World Championships. Here's my drive. Definitely, really, this is pretty much exactly where I want to land the shot. I'm gonna throw just a smooth hyzer down there, just a 350 stock buzz, 330, 350 hyzer buzz shot, left side of that tree that's in the middle of the fairway. Give myself a look just like that. That's perfect, and that's ideal. So that's kind of the shot I'm going for. Venom off the tee, buzz on the second shot, and that should leave me with my patented zone shot, one of my favorite shots to throw. So that's another thing, is always set yourself up, if you can, to throw a disc from that distance that you want to throw, which for me is that 250 to 300 foot range with a zone, whether it's forehand or backhand. If I'm in that range, I feel super comfortable, and that's what I'm looking for. So I always want to try to land in that distance and have that stock distance be my comfort zone and play to that if I can. Here's my buzz shot, right in the fairway. Now I'm just left at about 200 feet. I'm not gonna be able to throw a zone because it's too close, but I'm gonna throw probably my focus, which is another shot I enjoy throwing. This hole, you definitely want to favor that right side. That OB does creep up on the left side, so if you go pin high left, you're actually going to be OB. Like that might be close to the OB. So that's safe, but it's I'm going to throw one more. It's definitely not what I'm looking for. I don't want to be that close to the out of bounds. That's better. Nice and soft. Yep. Safe side of the green, which is that right side of the green. I don't want to be left. Oh, that one's too safe, but it's still fine. So all those fine, pretty much tap in birdies from every one of those. I almost can get more aggressive off the tee and the second shot to give myself an eagle chance. Definitely an eagleable par 5 if I'm, just because I'm throwing such short shots on that second shot. And I'm noticing I could probably get up there for a putt. If I bite off a little bit more on the drive in the second shot, I can get up towards those wood chips and give myself a mid-circle 2 putt for eagle. It's a very realistic chance. Might be worth the risk on this hole. So we'll have to see how the week of practice transpires and see if I'm feeling the eagle on this one. Beautiful green, as you can see here. This is absolutely awesome, but you can also see that I want to favor this right side no matter what. I don't want to be anywhere near that left side as it is out of bounds in that lake. My other upshot is kind of somewhere close to that OB. It's definitely not something I want. I want to stay well short of the OB and well right of it. So this would be kind of not an ideal shot for me, just because of the fact that it is really close to the out of bounds. But all right, we got hole 17, 630 foot par 4, 192 meters. And as you can see, it's a gauntlet of trees. You see the backside of that fairway, which is that blue, those blue banners. You want to be short right of that, skipping right side. I'm going to throw my overstable force just on a little bit of a flex line. I think that's what fits this gap the best. So I'm going to do that and see where I can land. So I hit one of those trees. I'm going to throw something a little bit more glidey. Once again, I don't really care about the result of that. I just care about what I can learn from that. And I can throw that same shot with something glidier and get through the gap. Whoops. That one was just a bad release. But see here, I'm going to try to see if I have the right disc. Threw a couple of I'm going to throw this one actually. All right, so I'm going to throw my pink force. This is kind of my Old Faithful as far as my forehands go. So I'm going to throw Old Faithful through the gap. And I want to get one through the gap so that way I can see where a good drive lands so I can practice some upshots from there. Just like that, that's perfect. So let's see where it lands now. All right, so we're walking through the gap here. Pretty tricky. As you can see, a lot of trees. So if you do hit a tree, you know, it's not what you want, what you're looking for, but at the same time, it's more one of those things where you hit a tree, you lay up to where your drive should land, and then you go from there and try to make your par and scramble and save your par that way. So that's something to keep in mind on a hole like this, is just to make sure that you're keeping it in perspective to where if you don't hit the drive perfect, it's not what you want. You can feel frustrated, but don't try to bite off too much and get to the basket way out of position and go OB or something like that. All right, so here is my drive that got through. I threw a bunch of drives, only one of them got through, which is no worries at all. Not too worried about that. More just worried about, you know, dialing that shot in, which I will throughout the week. Now I know if I throw a good shot, it gets through. This is kind of where I can expect to land, which is always good to know. So this shot's I can already tell it's gonna be an in-between distance between like a buzz and like a zone shot. So it might be a little awkward distance where it's kind of like in between those two. So it's gonna be tricky to pick the right disc, it kind of feels like. So let's throw, maybe I'll throw a zone first just to see how that flies up there and see if I can get a putt with the zone first. So that's gonna be a little wide and long left. That's just a par from there, looks like. So I'm gonna throw a little bit flippier of a zone and then We'll see how this one flies, since it's a little bit flippier than that first one. There we go. That's exactly what I'm going for. So that was a lot tighter. Okay, yeah, that one looks great. So that's gonna be parked maybe 25, 30 short. I'm gonna try one more. It's pretty much the same as that zone I just threw. See if I can't replicate that. There we go. Same exact shot, looks like. Yep, exact same shot twice up there with that zone. So I think I'm finding out that the zone is the disc. The buzz would have been too much speed going up that hill, and on that tight perched green. Drop-offs on both sides. Speed control is super important. So we'll go up there and see how short I am with that zone, and kind of make the adjustment if we need to from there. My first good zone shot right here, 25-30, pretty much exactly where I thought it was going to land. So this is definitely a spot that seems pretty popular, which I definitely am going to practice from. And then this spot is basically the exact same spot, just a little bit left. But yeah, I think zone is the shot. You know, it's an uphill green, kind of downslope on both sides, but throwing right where I landed is kind of that sweet spot. 25-30 short, it mitigates a lot of the risk, still gives you an open birdie putt that's very makeable, and that's what you want. All right, we got hole 18. This is the finishing hole here at Tampere, and this hole is freaking epic. We got 351 feet, 107 meters. Stands behind, stands in front, and this is an awesome green. Perched up on the double shelf, almost like a triple shelf. But I'm gonna throw a zone, dead straight. My goal is to try to land on that ring. This is the type of hole where if you don't throw a good drive, there's no going for your putt. It's just an automatic layup. But I'm gonna try to throw it into that ring, give myself that good high percentage birdie chance, and that's kind of the inside the circle area. A little bit flippy, so that one turned a little bit. I'm still kind of getting used to that zone, so I'm learning that one. Let's see if this blue one's any different than that one. Okay, that's perfect. I like that a lot. That's absolutely parked. Yep, love that. So that one's just money zone. I gotta throw one more. I mean, this hole is so cool. I'm gonna throw one more here. Oh, shoot. That one was just, and as you can see, that shot's just kind of not much to it besides just a layup from there. I'm gonna try one more zone. This is an unload your bag type of hole. Might be too far. Okay, we're good. So hit the hill and still didn't roll. Hole 18 is an awesome hole. Definitely will be throwing zone, and I think that I'm gonna be birdieing. Pretty positive. Thank you guys for watching. Let's go up there and putt on this amazing green. All right, so here's the top shelf where a couple of my drives landed. This freaking hole is absolutely awesome. But it's always good to get that tap-in feeling. Here on 18, through 2 zones on the top shelf, and that's a good way to finish. But this hole is freaking awesome. I mean, just the tiered green, lush grass, slopes on both sides, stands. No better way to finish on this course than this epic green. Thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow I'm going to be playing the Beast and filming that for you guys. So stay tuned. That'll be the next video released, and stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you at the next video. Sweet.